Howdy. My name is Nonat, and the Alchemist is one of my favorite classes in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Its power comes from its flexibility rather than purely high numbers. From mutagens to poisons to bombs to elixirs, there's nothing this class can't do. So why do people seem to think the Alchemist is the weakest class in the game? Well, most people will quickly jump on their weapon proficiency, only capping out at Expert at level 7. Because of this, the class does suffer when it comes to damage, but if you've heard me talk about the Alchemist before, you know that I don't believe the Alchemist is primarily a damage-focused class. It is a support class. Even the Bomber subclass, while its primary function does happen to deal damage, it still focuses more on the support side of things with its feat choices like Debilitating Bomb and Smoke Bomb. Even the Bomber feats that do affect damage usually only affect the splash damage, allowing the Bomber to control the damage rather than increase it. So no, I don't agree that the Alchemist's biggest problem is the damage. It's their learning curve. Complicated classes are a very touchy subject when it comes to tabletop RPGs. How often have you heard the phrase, "You don't have to be charismatic to play a high charisma character"? Well, that should apply here too. You shouldn't have to be a genius to play a complicated character. Unfortunately, that's kind of the case with the Alchemist in Pathfinder 2e. Now, the issue does not stem from the class itself. Its class features and feat selection are as easy to understand as pretty much every other class in the game. The problem is in the alchemical items themselves. There's so many to choose from, and it's hard to understand what they do at a single glance. I couldn't tell you the difference between the Serene Mutagen and the Cognitive Mutagen, or the Beastial Mutagen and the Juggernaut Mutagen. A level 1 Alchemist has 24 different items to pick from to add to their formula book, and that's just with the core rulebook. Now you might already be thinking, well, a wizard has over 30 spells to pick from that they can prepare. And you're right. But spells are more powerful and generally useful than alchemical items are. Pretty much any spell you pick will be useful at one point or another. The level 1 spell Burning Hands deals 2d6 fire damage to every creature in a 15-foot cone. Meanwhile, the level 1 Alchemist's Fire deals 1d8 fire damage, plus 1 persistent fire damage, plus 1 splash fire damage. If both effects are hitting a single target, the damage is pretty comparable, but it's not hard with Burning Hands to hit 2, 3, sometimes more targets, allowing for a much higher potential damage than the Alchemist's Fire. Another example is the Beastial Mutagen versus the Magic Weapon spell. Magic Weapon can turn a 1d8 longsword into a 2d8 longsword with a +1 to hit. The Beastial Mutagen grants the drinker a 1d4 agile claw attack, a 1d6 jaw attack, both of which with a +1 to hit, reduces the target's armor class by 1 and reduces their reflex saves by 2. So not only is Magic Weapon simpler to understand than the Beastial Mutagen, but it's also just better on paper in most situations. If you only focus on single items and single abilities of the Alchemist, it's always going to look weak compared to other classes. And this is a problem that many Alchemist players face themselves. They'll pick the Bomber subclass and think, well, I'm a bomber, I use bombs, I will only prepare bombs. And they do. They completely ignore the plethora of other alchemical items available to them and spend all of their crafting reagents making bombs each day. And it's hard to fault them. After all, thanks to your subclass, you can craft 3 bombs at once instead of 2 elixirs of life. So why wouldn't you want to make more items? And that's where the difficulty of this class really becomes apparent. It's resource management. And there's a big difference in power between an alchemist who prepared specifically for the day ahead of them and an alchemist who prepares the same items every session. Like I said earlier, a spellcaster can get away with preparing pretty much any spells they want and be fine because of how powerful cantrips are in Pathfinder 2e. Alchemists, however, are not as lucky. They don't even get anything similar to a cantrip until level 7. This means they need to make every single item count because everything they do costs a limited resource. If you spent every single one of your reagents crafting bombs and you didn't see combat that day, well, every single one of those bombs just went to waste. On the other hand, if you spent all your reagents preparing mutagens to buff your charisma, intelligence, stealth skills, and all you do is see combat that day, well, you're just as out of luck. This is what makes the Alchemist so difficult to play. You have to be prepared. And the class does reward that preparation. Let's say you know you're going to be fighting a troll. Well, bring your Alchemist fire because hopefully you know trolls are weak to fire. Now all of a sudden your level 1 Alchemist fire is dealing 1d8 plus 1 fire from the splash plus 10 damage from the troll's fire weakness, and then every time it takes the 1 persistent fire damage, it's actually taking 11 because that weakness applies to persistent damage. It's these little niche things that you might not know at first glance that can make the Alchemist so powerful, but you need to know what you're up against. It's true that if you're walking through the woods and all of a sudden a dragon drops from the sky and attacks you, yeah, you probably weren't ready for that, and compared to the other classes, your Alchemist is going to be weaker. Another aspect of the Alchemist I never hear talked about is how they can effectively auto-heighten all of their items to the strongest version. Since Alchemists don't have spell slots, they can use all of their infused reagents every day to prepare only the strongest items available to them. So while a level 11 wizard can prepare 2 level 6 spells per day, a level 11 alchemist can prepare 15 batches of greater alchemist's fire per day, along with any other items of level 11 or lower available to them. This does cause alchemists to suffer a bit from levels 1 to 4, but from level 5 onward, they have enough reagents that they can prepare for so many different situations. If you only look at individual items, the Alchemist will appear incredibly weak, and especially at low levels, they will suffer from poor resource management and preparation. But as they grow in level and gain more reagents to spend each day, some of this management is alleviated and you can get a bit more loose with the items you prepare. You still need to plan ahead no matter what level you are, but rest assured that you'll be thankful you prepared those elixirs of life even though you could have prepared bombs. Now what if you really want to play an alchemist but you're seriously struggling with what to prepare each day? You have all these reagents but you don't know if they're even going to get to be used or useful. Well, I've got a bit of a solution here for you. Introducing the Chef research field. Utilizing a completely new type of item, the chef uses their infused reagents to feed their party a meal every morning. These meals are special items that grant fairly minor benefits, but the benefits last all the way until your next daily preparations. Take a look at this meat stew. Make it at the beginning of the day, and your entire party, including yourself, gain a +1 to all fortitude saves until your next long rest. Chef alchemists are also able to craft snacks. These are special consumables that specialize in controlling and even reducing specific conditions on party members. If the Alchemist subclass catches your eye, it's available right now on the No Nat One's Patreon for anyone who pledges $10 or more a month. You even get access to all of my past homebrew. The entire subclass, 4 unique feats, 4 unique meals, and 4 unique snacks are all available right on my Patreon. There's even more unique feats, meals, and snacks to be coming in the near future. There's a link to my Patreon right in the description of this video, as well as in the top pinned comment below. And hey, if you pledge $20 or more, you even get your name in the credits just like these amazing people. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you agreed or disagreed with me, and if you do disagree and still think the Alchemist is an incredibly weak class, let me know. I want to know why you think so. But there is one caveat. Your argument is not allowed to use their proficiency with bombs as a main point. It's the one argument I hear over and over, and it's the defining point of why the Alchemist sucks, even though it's only one aspect of their entire character. So thank you all so very much for watching. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, no Nat Ones.